Awesome.
in the building. Okay,
Well,
do I
hi,
feel close
Kendra.
enough? Hi.
That's great. Wonderful to
Okay.
virtually meet you.
Yes, it is. It's wonderful to meet you too, Jason.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm so happy to have you here on the show. We're about to have a great time tonight. I love the
Yes.
dishes over. So, yeah, we're just going to have fun. Um, for those who do not know who this amazing artist and vocalist and songwriter is, we about to run down a few credits and just let y'all know. So, as a vocalist, number one, you have circled the globe with George Clinton and the P Funk All Stars. Y'all heard that? George Clinton and the P Funk All Stars. And D'Angelo and the Vanguard. I mean, superstar stuff, y'all. Superstar stuff. You are also an artist in your own right who has released a self-titled solo album, Kendra Foster. For those who joined us earlier, we were listening to a little bit of Promise to Stay here. Make sure y'all check that out on all your streaming platforms and download it because, pay the artist. Um, you're also a songwriter. And as a songwriter, you have won 2 Grammys.
Yes.
2 Grammys for your work on D'Angelo's Black Messiah album. So I got to know, where are the Grammys? Where you keep them?
Well, one of them is over to my left. The other one is hidden in a bookshelf. And,
Okay.
they take turns. One of them was on my ancestor shrine for a minute. So,
Mhm.
getting charged up and whatnot. But here's one. This is the one with my name on it.
Woo! Y'all see
Yay!
that? It's
So here's
real.
you. It's real. Over the mothership. Thank you. Thank you for all your powers, the mothership.
Yes. I love it.
The other baby, I call them my twins, and the other twin is in the bookcase, absorbing all the knowledge. So,
I love it. I love it. So we're gonna take a brief detour because you mentioned you have an ancestor shrine, and a friend of mine and I were talking about that recently, and she's like, "You gotta have one. You gotta have one." So tell me, do you endorse ancestor shrines? Do you think it's vital for your life and your energy?
absolutely. And when I like vital, you carry a shrine within you,
Facts.
But is it very, very powerful and good to have? Probably because, paying homage to your people and people that went on before you that impacted your life or that you come from lineage or you just end up being able to commune with them more. They're in your face, just like real people, you
Hmm.
know. And even no matter what pantheon or spirituality, I don't think it's a bad practice. I even convinced one of my mamas to do it, and she's extremely, extremely Christian, but she really, really, felt that honoring the ancestors. So yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a good idea. It's the one shrine like that's purely dedicated that I have in my house at the moment. So.
Love it. I love it. Then the Grammys are just hiding out over there somewhere too.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I've been asking everybody during this time of pandemic and social unrest and just a lot of change in 2020, how have you been coping as a person and as a creative?
Well, it wasn't easy at first, like anybody, but I think I've just been using the time to like kind of harp on any sort of healing work I was doing, and just really just tune in.
Yeah,
If we must be inside, and you're blessed enough to survive this, like then it's a blessing to be able to go inside and do that. And I've been taking probably more supplements and things than I did pre-COVID. So ironically accelerating the health and evolution and creatively still creating, ironically, and curating a lot of stuff because I got a single coming out next month. Finally.
excellent, excellent. So y'all heard it here. We got a new Kendra Foster single coming next month. Are you ready to drop the title?
Here.
Here,
'Tis what
here.
I am.
Okay.
Yes, here.
All right. Perfect. So we are ready for that. Do you have a specific date or just next month we need to be looking out
Next
for?
month, because
Okay.
we got the video wrapped up, and which we're very excited about. Shout out to the Clever Agency and Paul Notice and Orion Gordon and all the various peoples involved. Shaka Giving. So yeah, next month because it shouldn't be no later than that, y'all. Y'all hold me to it.
Awesome, awesome. We're looking forward to that. Absolutely. So listen, let's just jump into this list because I know we're
Okay,
going to
then.
talk
I
more
got
about
notes.
these songs.
Okay.
I got notes too. We got notes.
I got
Yes,
notes. We studious.
we studious and stuff. So listen, the first song on the list is by the incredible, legendary Stevie Wonder. Like this list is nothing but legends and master classes in songwriting and songcraft. Golden Lady. I love this song. I really do. Let's listen to just a little bit and
Sure,
then we'll
let's
talk
do
about
it.
it.
All
All
right.
right. Woo! That
Woo!
feels so good.
Yes,
So good.
so
So tell
good.
me, how did that song change your life?
Well, it like probably sealed the deal on me completely falling in love with Stevie Wonder. But really quickly, my two mamas and my daddy is all involved in my Stevie Wonder experience. But
Mhm.
my other mom, she would play a lot of N Square Circle Stevie. So when I went to stay with my mama, I went and raked through her record collection, wore out Songs in the Key of Life and Talking Book. I was like 15 or something. And then I bumped into Intervisions and I was like, what is this? And, was falling in love, but Golden Lady is on Intervisions, right? See, I have these old lady moments. That is that
Listen,
album. Wait a minute. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
let me
Well,
verify.
yes.
Yes, you're right.
Okay. Okay.
Interventions.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So as if all the songs that led up to that, it might even, I don't know what number it is. If it's number 5, I'm not surprised. But when I heard that, I was like, just everything opened up. It was like the beauty of the sounds in that song, probably the beauty of the reverence for a divine feminine.
Yeah.
It's like just that album alone, like kind of pushing into to me what I hadn't heard enough. I hadn't heard enough about inner visions over the course of my life. So like that just that song and will probably still and forevermore be one of my, if not my favorite Stevie Wonder song, like my first love, like when I really so yeah, that changed my life because he's one of the pillars of my whole like music psyche.
Nice, nice. So you and I had that in common, digging through the vinyl and just playing all the records and all that stuff. When did you know that you needed to be amongst those albums, that you needed to create music?
I think, well, I'd always been in love with music. I was trying to write songs when I was a little girl, improvising and singing, and like, what is the word I'm looking for? Like bludgeoning my fellow 5-year-old classmates in the head with new songs that I'd written, and they would go on and on and on and on. And whenever we had a tape, if we had a tape, little tape recorders from back in
Oh
the
yeah.
day with the cassette going, I would, sing stuff on that. So I always knew I loved music and always knew I wanted to be a part of it. And definitely by that time, I mean, because not only was I digging through that stuff, but of course I was still falling in love with SWV and Intro and
Mhm.
Jade and all that stuff back then, which I kind of
Hey.
look like right now with what's going on here. And they gotta get some head come back. But yeah, so for that duality of like, raking through mama's albums and like, still being all up in the radio with what was happening at the time. Like,
Mhm.
that was very, I mean, I even remember trying to play the record while my girlfriend was over, like, just one of your little homegirls. She was like, that's hurting I got a headache, because it was so vintage. So
Ah,
yeah,
yes, yes. Old people music. Yeah.
grown people music,
That's
classic
what
people
that is.
music.
That's what that is. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Stevie is, of course, known for being a vocal beast and a songwriting beast. How has that influenced your artistry, just the vocal side and the songwriting side?
I think it's pushing to it overall inspires me to push to pull out what is best and magical out of myself and not really allow anything less than that to get to ears like mine, especially. 'Cause but I think it's that it's like, I mean, because he's such a virtuoso, like anybody else, like in those pillars of my virtuoso, like he plays, all kinds of things. He learned electronics he was all up in it, and not only producing these like melodies from, you know, all times and dimensions and chords and just I mean, just composition. I think it's really just to do everything that's in your capacity, you know, but like it has to have a spirit in it though. It has
Yeah,
to have a heart in it, because that was always there. It was just like, look, if I got any magic, that type of artist inspires me to truly like connect to it and share it.
absolutely. Absolutely. I see that as a common thread through the artists on this list. They all had that magic and definitely dive into different parts of themselves when giving of themselves as artists. So that is incredible. The next song is by another renowned legend, Miss Sarah Vaughan. Love her so much.
Yes.
Lullaby of Birdland. We're gonna take a little walk through the jazz garden, y'all. So again, if you are just joining us, this is 5 songs that changed my life. Our special guest for tonight is Kendra Foster, y'all. An immaculate vocalist. Immaculate.
Immaculate, immaculate, immaculate,
Wow.
immaculate, utterly.
So tell me,
Uh,
why that particular song? Because she has so many classics that you could have chosen. Why
mm,
Lullaby of Birdland?
well, also at my phone keeps dimming. I don't even know what's up with it. Also at the same time when I was 14, 15, whatever, I was also like strangely quietly in love with musicals, which strangely quietly led me to jazz, which
Mm.
then I felt really hard. And my mom had some kind of anthology, Great Ladies of Jazz. I'm not anthology, whatever you call it, Great Ladies of Jazz, and that song was on it, and I was like, oh my, what is this? Who is she? You know, I love jazz. That's it. You know, that's it. And then it was like Dinah Washington and Nancy Wilson, who I didn't know, you know, was ever a jazz. You know, I just remember BET. You know, Nancy Wilson. But like, so that like unlocked the floodgates. So this is what I like some of the notes I wrote down, but this is actually also the first song I ever sang at a jazz jam session. It was actually the first jam session I'd ever been to, and it
Oh
happened to
wow.
be a jazz jam session. And um, I was like, "Excuse me, can I sing?" And they were like, "Okay, what you gonna sing?" Because nobody sung on this jam session really. It was like poets and like spoken word. The epitome
Uh,
was Name the Coffee House. I was like 18. I had just started college. It was the first summer after, and they let me sing, you know, and I called Lullaby of Birdland, so it wasn't like you know, My Funny Valentine or Summertime or anything like that. So they're like,
right.
okay. So I did it, and then I met my mentor Whitney, who was the trumpet player, because afterwards he was like, well, do you sing Sade or anything like that? You know, because these were gigging musicians. It was the first time I witnessed real live musicians that were making a living doing it. So honestly, meeting him and doing that song marked the beginning of the road to my music career and me choosing to be a musician, because I thought it was a one in a billion thing. I was a practical child. I chose math and science as my majors. I was a math and chemistry major back and forth until God rived practicality from my hands and, you know, threw me into music. So, but this really kicked off me realizing, uh-oh, like I could do this, you know. And so that jazz song of all things did it, kicked it off.
Man, that is so inspirational. Excuse me. So that was the first standard that you performed out in the jazz world. What city were you in for that jam set?
Talla, Tallahassee, Florida, where I'm from. Let me get
Hey,
a little closer to y'all.
Florida in the building. Okay,
Yes, Florida. I'm a Florida
uh,
girl.
that's what's up. So
Yes.
so once your vision changed and I guess adjusted, if you will, to oh maybe I can do music. Maybe I can put myself out there in this way. What was that journey like from there?
It was very fruitful, because a very it was a gradual journey taken with my mentor Whitney Russell, and also my funk mentor Mike P, which is how I would ultimately meet P Funk. But it was like mainly Whitney, like, you know, teaching you, if you're gonna get respect, You need to learn how to break this down, you know, set this up. You can't be just not knowing your key when you get on the bandstand, you know, like if you're going to call a tune, or you better have a chart that's in the key. If it's not in the key, the song's in, and all these things, until finally one day, after about maybe a year or two, maybe not quite that long, but enough me going and sitting in on his gigs, he passed me some money, and I was like, oh, he was like, yeah, you working now, you know? And so from there, it was like, we would play your bathroom if you paid us. And he had, and before and while I was also in Mike P's funk band, Smoke, which will lead us to one of these other tunes, or a couple actually. And so basically, oh gosh, I got lost on my own trip. What did you ask me,
Oh,
Jason?
no. I was just asking you about the journey from that first jam session
Yeah,
to
from that
your
first
amazing
jam
career.
session. So
Yeah.
once I started gigging and being in bands, Smoke, Fish and Grits, Concept, like around Tallahassee, it was a wrap. Like it came a point where schooling wise, you know, Whitney was like, you know, I think if your people want the piece of paper, maybe luckily they won't care what it's in. Maybe if you choose music as your major, you can spend all day with it, you know, and which is what I did end up doing and going into jazz studies and commercial music at FAMU. But like, then that was it. Then eventually, you know, through Mike, I would meet George, and, you know, then eventually, you know, it's signed. So, I mean, it was just like from that point to even before I left Tallahassee, like at 22 years old or whatever it was, from 18 to 22, it was quite a journey, but it quickly became packed, you know, with constant performance.
Got you. So a lot of sharpening of those skills that would, of course,
Absolutely.
serve you later, for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Turned me into the musician that I am today.
Oh, there we go. Amazing, amazing. So yeah, another immaculate musician is next up on your list, Prince. There are a plethora of songs that could have been chosen, but this one is so smooth and so gorgeous, so sanctuary. We're gonna listen to a little bit, and then we're gonna chat about that one. So tell
Okay.
me why that Prince song in particular? Why so
Oh my
sanctuary?
gosh, it's a really similar thing like Golden Lady, for Stevie.
Hmm.
So I was like many of these people besides Stevie, or say like D, that are on the list. Like I wasn't like their big chart topping songs were not the things that, like, I was like, okay, cool, P Funk, Prince. But when the right people, like all these young people, when I first came to college, like getting excited over Prince and putting me on, one of them particularly was like my first real boyfriend. And
Okay.
Corey Brown, you know,
Hey,
Dr.
Corey
Corey
Brown.
Brown. Yes. And we're still friends today, and he has a beautiful, wonderful family. But he made me like a Prince mixtape. And
Mhm.
so Sanctuary, you know, was kind of, and actually I had heard it from someone else. Like one of my friend's brothers was playing it or something. And I was like, what is this? You
Mm.
know, and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was already starting to become a Prince fan, but that song did it. And yeah, I guess there was something else I was gonna say about Soul Sanctuary, but I'm not gonna worry about it. It was just so freaking beautiful that I was just like, yeah, it turned out. But oh no, I will say that the one of the few times I was ever in Paisley Park, you know, Prince was not there, unfortunately, he had just left. But
Oh,
George
wow.
was the executive producer of my album Myriad Morphonic Biocorporal Melodic Shapeshifter. And
Mhm.
we worked in Paisley Park on like one of my songs. And we were like in Studio A. We were in all the studios because George, of course, had the run of the place. So when we were in the main one where the piano was, where you could tell he'd been, all his picks were all over the floor. I did have one of those white with a purple symbol. Anyway,
Ooh.
I looked over at the piano, and on the piano was the sheet music for Soul Sanctuary. And I was like, oh my God, I
It's
just
Kismet.
had it
It's
too.
Kismet.
Yes, boom. So, and we all know I would love Prince. It's the same reason, you know, Stevie Wonder is just like greatness personified. You play all these instruments, you got never ending leagues of music, you never get old. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah. soul sanctuary.
The timelessness of it all, right?
Yes.
So I'm noticing a through line, and it will continue through the rest of the songs on this list. Melody. Melody seems to be important to you. I know it's important to me as a listener and as a creative as well. Um, how do you feel about melody when you create music?
Oh yeah, it's so very important. Well, I'm a top line writer. You know, I can hear chords in my head, but I can't always play them. But melody, you know, well, it's what I'm gonna be singing, that's for sure. And it's like that's what most of us attach to, you know, is that it almost I don't want to everything defines the song, but you know, when you have the melody like running through it, it's almost like a lace or a connector as much as it is, you know, a lead. It's like the all the other composition. It's not setting the stage or whatever, but it's like the scape, the whatever, and then there is the journeyman through that, you know, and I guess in a way that's kind of like the melody to me. So it's always important that I try to come up with one or various that like I wouldn't be shamed or my butt wouldn't pucker when I hear it later in front of people.
Like, oh, did I write that? Oh, wait.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no. That is hilarious. All right, so we're gonna take a little funky turn on this journey. The next song,
Okay.
Baby, I Owe You Something Good by Funkadelic. Oh, we about to have fun now. So let's listen
Oh,
to a little bit of this funk, and then we're gonna talk about it, all right?
all right. I gotta get my nuts for this.
Yes, get your notes for this one. I want all the stories, okay? I know we're only playing a little bit, y'all, but these songs are incredible. So when you want to hear the full things, go to Spotify. There's a link in my bio with the 5 songs playlist. All of these songs are on that playlist, so go enjoy them in their entirety, okay? So yes, Kendra, tell me why that particular Funkadelic song. I was about to say properly. It's Funkadelic.
Yes, this Funkadelic song. Okay, so this is extremely important because this song and a couple others, in the album that it's from, Let's Take It to the Stage,
Hmm.
the album is the song that turned me into a funk fan, into a Funkadelic, into a diehard. It was like it opened the floodgates. That album, Let's Take It to the Stage, and this is why I'm looking at my notes because that's it. It's like P Funk. It's all things, you know. Like P
It
Funk,
is.
it is all things. Broadway, classical, spiritual, gospel, and it reminded me that Black folk created rock and roll.
Amen.
And
Amen. Say
so
that again for
yes,
those in the back.
yes, it reminded me that Black folk created rock and roll.
She said what she said.
So, absolutely, all day. It's the truth. We know it. That's all I try. That's all I try to speak. You know, we have our days, so. And that like sums that up because then funk, like I would have never dreamed that funk would have become a cornerstone to Kendra Foster. But thank you, Mike P, for being so obsessed and being the one to connect me to it. Mike P Funk was my funk guide or my funk mentor.
Nice.
He's still around. He's still around, young dude doing things, you know.
Shout out to Mike B. Funk.
Yes. Yay. But that is that. And you know,
That
I
is,
begged for a bonus, so I know we okay, no, we good on time. Okay, I
yeah,
see we good.
yeah. We're doing good on time. So we got that bonus coming. We're not gonna leave that one out. It's a good one, y'all. So I guess we've had a layering in your journey through this song list before. So you started out with the jazzy side of things, and then you added more Stevie and things like that to your journey, Prince, and now we get to the funk element.
And
So when
and
you
oh, go
go ahead,
ahead.
you
Oh,
go ahead.
oh, well, I really will say really quickly, and the chronology of all that, it's like kind of it really in my life was like Stevie, along with mainstream, then the jazz,
Okay.
then like, you know, what's gonna be our bonus, And then kind of working backward, like, ooh, Prince. Ooh, Prince loves P-Funk. Ooh, P-Funk. You know, and going
Got it.
that way. Yes.
Got
And
it.
then finding maybe who you're about to bring up.
Absolutely.
Um,
So that journey of discovery can be so fascinating how that happens. But when you finally, I guess, honed in on your love for George Clinton, P Funk, Funkadelic, all of that, did you envision yourself being part of his journey and working with him and working with that collective?
no, I would have never like dreamed that I would have been chosen to be so. I was just like, I would just go out to that studio. Like once Mike really schooled me and I became like obsessed, then I would just go be around them. I mean, they were most of the time on tour, like I eventually be like 85% of the year. So whenever
Hmm.
they would any him or any number of the band members would come through, it would just be like, wow. Like, but I was like, if he, I pretty much figured like hearing me sing or anything or from the time I was coming there, like he would have signed or done whatever. So I was just kind of like, oh, that's not going to happen. But at least I get to be around the greats, you know, and learn and like touch the hem of their garment and bask in the glory of the genius. But lo and behold, you know, little would I know that, you know, George and Archie Ivy would want to sign me to a production deal. And then ultimately I was able to go on the road with the big dogs, with the goats.
Awesome, awesome. And that was in 2003, early 2000s?
2002.
Two.
Now we are
Okay.
telling of the age, but it is okay. I'm not worried about it.
It's in your bio. That's the only reason I bring up a number.
No,
But you
no,
were
no.
like,
That's
you were
fine.
10. You were 10. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. So I guess this is a loaded question, but what's the one biggest takeaway that you've taken into your own artistry from working with George and the rest of that collective?
Oh, yes. Uh-oh. I could hear an echo that all of a sudden came. Do
You
you hear
sound good
me?
on this side.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll just try not to let it drive me nuts. Okay. So, when I think it was character singing, like getting into the trying other things inside of your voice than just be pretty or whatever.
Mhm.
And then there's beauty in that, of course. But also being unapologetic, you know, for like all of your wonderful you that you are, you know, finding a place for kind of personifying it in a persona so that you also still have, you know, a little person there, you know, when you're, because it's not to say that it's something separate from you, but
Right.
just the place where you turn on, you know, really understanding the character of it all. And then purity, just in performance, no pretense, like
Yeah.
just throwing it all out there. And trusting your weird and wild instincts that like make you hear interesting notes and intervals and know that they're good and know that they're wonderful and insist upon that. And yeah, just like daring to be truly what you are, whatever that is for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Those are amazing, incredible lessons. You mentioned character singing, and that takes us back to that little nugget you dropped earlier about loving musicals. So let's take a quick detour real quick. What musicals do you like? What are some of your favorites?
Oh my gosh, back then it's embarrassing because they weren't like
It's embarrassing.
I don't think they were like always like real musicals. Like I mean, I'm Susie. Like always like musicals. Well, they would have been on Broadway, but I would have seen the motion picture of them. Like,
Hmm.
you know, of course the Wiz, you know, for any of us. I mean, Durr.
Yes.
But like Meet Me in St. Louis.
Okay. Okay.
That's from back in the day when I was young. Of course, like now, I mean my girl Unclassifiable who's on here like beat me in the head and I fell in love with Hamilton. And of course Fela, because my boy
Yes.
San Goja and Dwayne Richmond now doing it. out there, like, and stuff like that that we're creating. And Cuba Moore by my boy Vincent Burwell and James Sasser, look out for it.
Okay.
But yeah, because I know musical theater writers.
I see you. I see you. I was not trying to check your gangster. I believe you.
No.
No, 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 no. That's amazing. I just love that you layered all of these things in together to
Oh, and
create
when
everything.
once I auditioned for Bubbling Brown Sugar when I was like in the fourth grade.
Okay.
It
Okay. So you
was,
auditioned, but you didn't quite make it.
I did quite make it. You know what song I sang? The night we met, I knew I needed you so. That song. Anyway, we don't have time. Let me stop
No, no, you keep
that.
going. So are you still open to musical theater? Would you do Broadway?
I absolutely would. I don't know if Broadway would have me. I'm a bit much,
I'm sure they
but
would.
in that regular schedule. But if I might actually, now I do also love Cats because my boy Theory Music, who might be on there, he plays in the pit in the orchestra, and he took me to see Cats right before the pandemic, as it turned out. Like, yes,
Oh, wow.
so seeing that and being behind the scenes and on the front side, like I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, I would totally do it. I would totally do it. Totally.
Awesome. Awesome. So we're gonna put a pin in that. We're gonna see
Ah!
Kendra Foster on Broadway. It has been put into the universe. It will manifest. So the next song on your list is one I had never heard before, so thank you for this education. It's a gorgeous song. If
Thank
You Ever
you.
Need to Cry by Brainstorm. We're gonna listen to a little bit of this one and then we'll talk about it, all right?
Okay.
Like that is a song.
That is a song that
Like
actually
really.
oh my goodness, if you ever need to cry, which actually, just to salute today I lost one of my precious sisters, and I'm not going to say her name because I don't want anybody that doesn't know to find out like this.
Mhm.
But yes, this song is great for all things, but specifically for when things get trying. But anyways, go ahead and ask me any questions, or I could
No,
just
no,
run it
no, you're
all
fine.
down.
My condolences to you on your loss. Absolutely.
Thank
But
you.
so you've already gotten into it. So that song helps you through those moments.
Woo! But it's very important because this song is sung by my female idol, Belita Woods, who's a part of Brainstorm. And what's important is like Mike P, yet again, when I was in his band Smoke, he would have me covering Belita like as a part of P Funk, because that's how my only awareness of her was. And
Mhm.
as she had gotten older, her voice had this really beautiful, different quality. And it almost like sometimes when she was hoarse made me think of like Dorothy Norwood. So I was like, well, who's this lady? Why you want me to say this? And so then I would see her on stage because he would just be constantly watching these videos. And she was like a goddess. Like, she was clearly grown or older, but she just still had all this everything. And so what I didn't realize though is Belita Woods was also the lady we've heard on the Quiet Storm, because it's the Quiet Storm's favorite. This must be heaven. That song,
Wow.
I thought it was like
Yes.
Patti LaBelle or somebody. It turned out it was Belita Woods, and she was part of this group called Brainstorm. So when I finally met her, she told me I was her musical soulmate. She's passed on.
Oh wow.
May she rise in power. But she told me that when I found this Brainstorm album, I fell in love with it. Journey to the Light. That's what it's on. I encourage any musician, especially, to go listen. Journey to the Light. But she told me that this song, when she sung it, when she wrote it, when they wrote it, because they were from this metaphysical church in like Detroit,
Mhm.
that it was from the vantage point of God, talking to us. Like,
Wow.
yeah, you are me and I am you. If you ever need to cry, your tears, they hurt me too, all of that. So I'll I promise I'll make you smile, make it worth your while. If you ever need to cry, be sure I'll be standing by. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So not only does that song have that metaphysical, spiritual element to it, The Stevie Wonder song that we started off with has that same element.
Ooh, yes.
How does that make its way into your music?
Easily. Because
Easily.
I can't help but not only bring all those people into my music with me, but also the spirit. I mean, even from when I was a little girl in church, listening to the choir, even being in the choir. And my mother is a beautiful singer, and all my parents love music, and even tried to play a guitar, pianos. But yeah, no, its spirit is everything. You know, a lot of times I feel like I'm channeling when I'm creating or when I'm singing. And, you know, I'm still learning to completely let go because it's so vulnerable and what'll come out of you just don't know all the
Sure.
time. But yeah, no, it's everything. It's everything, you know, spirit and that spirit with which, you know, they create or what we love, everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just keep it real and honest and let it flow, right?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So that was, if you were counting, that was 5 songs. But Miss Foster gave me one more that we just have to play because we got to talk
Yes.
about this piece of the journey.
Yes, of course we do. We do. We
Yes.
do. Everybody wants to.
That's right, right. They want to know. So
I
we're gonna
mean,
talk about it.
it's a pretty historical result
It's
of
pretty
this journey. Yes.
historical. Absolutely. So
As
y'all,
the
Will We Get
angels
By D'Angelo is our bonus song on the list.
gonna get
Let's jam
sexy
out
over
to a little bit
sexy.
of this one, and then we're gonna talk about it.
All
Yes,
right now.
yes. So now D'Angelo is in the building, in the conversation.
Yes,
Let's
the
talk.
young one.
Yes. So let's talk about this young legend. How were you first introduced to his music?
Oh my gosh. Well, when Brown Sugar came out, I asked for it for Christmas. And when my daddy saw that it had, you know, shit, damn motherfucker on it, he was like, no, you're not getting this. So somehow, because my girlfriends like play it and stuff, and I was like, ooh, this kind of jazzy. And like, then like, you know, who's young is doing that, but it's still like hip hop is still. So I snuck and bought it and I played the Discman and on my Discman all the way to grad night and so I
Wait,
love this
wait. What's a
album.
disc man?
Uh, okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's a device in which you put your compact disc. And yes, it was big, and yes, it was heavy. And if it wasn't skip proof, you can only
Hello.
imagine trying to run or walk or do
Come on,
anything with
anti-skip.
it. Okay, that's when you got fancy when you paid them extra $20 for the skip
Uh-huh.
proof. But
I'm sorry.
uh,
Go ahead.
Oh Lord. Anyway, and I don't see the little. Oh, okay, I see. So I was like, I don't see the comments or nothing more. Maybe it was time. But so anyway, yeah. And then from there, what was so beautiful is like when he kind of, you know, like ducked out or whatever for those few years. That's when I was on my journey with like, you know, finding Prince and finding P Funk and then the first song, and I was wondering when is he gonna come back? When he's gonna come back? That dude was, you know, he was dope. He was like doing jazzy, like that was what was so big for me. Was when we get by, I was like, oh
Yep.
shit, you know.
Yep.
But then once I fell in love with P Funk, and he came out with Voodoo, and he started and he led with Prince. Oh yeah, and then he got all, you know, I was like, oh my god. But then when I saw Left and Right, and it was my first time, you know, taking a trip, if you will. And I was like, this dude is a funkadelic. And then when I got like obsessed with P Funk, I was like, that bass line and when we get by is One Nation Under a Groove. Boom, boom, da dum, dum, da dum, 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 da dum, dum, da dum, da dum. So you
Mm.
know, yeah. So then from there, it was really funny when I finally actually met him. You know, of course, it's like so many years later. Like we were waiting on the album that I ended up, you know, like co-writing on. I mean, back in Tallahassee, we had a store called Vinyl Fever, and on the
Mhm.
marquee, they were like D'Angelo album coming soon, you know, um, like years before this would come to pass because I left Tallahassee in like 2009 and moved here. And then that's when that pretty much marked the beginning, like we were like beginning like 2009. So it's just like, wow, like, you know, that was where it began was with that album and with that song made me a fan, you know, and started the dream.
So from going from being a fan of his music to actually meeting the man to working with him on this pivotal comeback album that won you 2 Grammys, 2 Grammys.
Yeah.
What was that process like of creating Black Messiah?
It was beautiful, but it was a long process because we got to New York around the same time from our respective woods. And like he had already had some songs in tow, you know, that were probably in the vault for years that had, you know, spots like
Yeah.
sometimes a bridge or a melody or so there was that, but and that was beautiful, like helping to craft those things. And my favorite song, like on the front end, was like the prayer. But then as time went on, through all the like any kind of like talking about the project to like actually kicking around tracks or whatever it is, or like he started going back into those sessions with Questlove and Pino, those creative jam sessions, those legendary ones, and like cooked up some more stuff since I've been around. And it was like, and I'm, you know, so grateful. But like, I guess he thought enough of me to be like, all right, here you go, like, and let me kind of have a first try at like the melodies and the, you know, at least like definitely the charade until it's done. And Another Life, he had kind of already had a great idea melodically of where he wanted to go, but then that's where like a lot of the lyrics, like I was starting from kind of scratch more or less, save a couple lines, as opposed to like things like, you know, Ain't That Easy and Even Really Love and stuff like that, where it might be a substantial portion, but with those I was at like the inception, you know, or you know, some whatever, and it would be stuff we'd either talked about or chopped it up like, hey, we should try this, and then they did, and we'd be like, we did it, and you know, can't wait to see what you do with it, and that type of thing. But because we weren't always in the same room. At first I was on the road all the time, so it would be like voicemail, because he's very particular. I'd have to go up to the studio and get a literal CD. He wasn't trying to send nothing through the email. You know, he had to graduate to that because he's very
Okay.
protective. Because when we
Yeah.
first started working, 1,000 Deaths was leaked, and oh my God, like he does not like leaks. I don't think any of us do, but particularly not him.
Got it.
so
Got it.
so 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 basically, like there would be all this like voice memos and voicemails and, you know, my garage band and me trying to like, okay, like send it to Ben Kane or like, but then when we actually could get in the room, or we could even just talk about the stuff, and we'd be talking on the phone about different things going on in life and music, what you listen to, was it? But like it would be really cool when we were actually in the same room, when like we staked out the time to like really start piecing things together and then trading off all the way down to a word where it's like, oh, what is it? And you know, then those times when he'd be
Hmm.
like, look, tell me what it is. I was like, I don't want to tell you this line. It might be whack. He's like, every time you do that, it's good, you know, and like, you know, that type of stuff. So it was a beautiful process, and particularly with like a song like the Charade, where I get a note like and I love this because it's like my mathematical mind starts thinking about it like a formula, like when he says something like I want to say something like James Baldwin would say, you know, like kind of like he would say it but like through Dorothy Parker's voice, you know, or whatever. I was like, well, okay then, you know,
Okay.
like
Okay.
okay, you know, like let's, you know, all right then, challenge my brain, like let me, you know, because I love that type of stuff. You know, everybody's always telling me, Kendra, that word is too big, or it's got too many syllables, or you always got to have, you know, and
Whatever.
and and
Use
yeah,
all your
and
syllables. Use all your syllables.
and also, you know, he would also remind me to like marry the simple with the like all the depth, you know.
Hmm. Hmm.
But yeah, it was a beautiful process. I mean, was it cool to have to, you know, still be writing songs about, you know, oppression and, you know, modern day lynchings that honestly, I'm from Florida. A lot of those headlines were already going on before Trayvon Martin. And I was
Yeah.
just glad that finally one of them had become national, you know.
Right. Right.
So things like that, you know, micro. I mean, dang, those are only the ones we know about.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I think like being with the kindred spirit that's like, you know, just as fudge that as I am about it, and being ready, you know, to go ahead and rep the cause at whatever cost. Because let's be for real, at that time, the industry was not on it like that. Like, you
Right.
know, like I would say that, you know, it might be presumptuous or whatever, but I think that we opened the floodgates for it to be okay and cool to talk about revolution and self reflection as a community, and to realize, no, we ain't never overcome, and it may be worse because people can act like it's not there. Some of
Yeah.
what we're marching for is not just the obvious stuff. It's the little by little. It's the microaggressions. It's the like grating on your spirit all day. It's the giving you, the Black woman, extra hours, or not giving you the opportunity when you got all the degrees and you got all the stuff. So I mean, you know, it's like, it's until it's dealt with, it's not dealt with, and it's not okay, and you know, all that stuff. So we have both had that same spirit, and I'm glad, because thereafter and right alongside it, we had Black, what I lovingly call Black Messiah Jr., To Pimp a Butterfly. We
Oh,
had
yes. Yes.
Lemonade. We had Donald Glover. You know, Childish Gambino coming out with all this. You
A
know,
seat at the table.
a seat at
Yes.
the table. I mean, and you know, we could go on.
Yes.
And now we are, you know, and all of the, between, you know, Jordan Muldrow and Erica with the I Stay Woke, that then finally, you know, they're always ahead of their time, but you know, here we go with the wokeness, you know. So yeah, and it's a beautiful thing. It'll forever be a beautiful thing to be a part of. It's a dream come true on several accounts, to work with Dee, and all the people involved, all the other goats involved, to also kind of be in a group that's my age.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
I'm forever Vanguard. You know, that's, I don't, you know. And so yeah, it was beautiful, 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 all the way and all the ways and everything.
That's
It's good.
amazing. So does an experience like that empower you going forward, knowing that um, you grew as a songwriter throughout that process, and now you go back into your own music as Kendra Foster, the artist, and you got 2 Grammys on your show? Does that make you feel more confident in what you do?
Yeah, I would say so. Absolutely. You know,
Yeah.
having people that I admire and, like, you know, trust me to be a part of their magic. And the thing is, though, I was always, that's the thing, like, I was always writing and always creating and always working on me. I just knew I had to, you know, and George was like, you know, trying to be a hard part of helping it. And quietly,
Hey,
so was
Kendra,
D. Yeah,
I hate to
we
pause
got
you.
30
Instagram is
seconds.
giving me the
Yes.
15-second reminder. So
All right.
let's come in. Let's go out. Come back in real quick, and we'll wrap this up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sounds
All right,
good.
y'all.
You want
Come
to
back,
shut it down?
everybody.
All right.
Act like we never left.
And we're back.
Cool. So, just to pick up where we left off at, we were discussing "When We Get by D'Angelo. That led us into the Black Messiah experience and being part of that project, winning 2 Grammys from your songwriting for that, and how that has, I won't say empowered you, but solidified what you do as a creative. So go ahead and take it away from there.
Yay! Because I was always kind of alongside the journey of having to see those dreams through, like creating and trying to be Kendra Foster. And of course, first George tried to help me. And then even quietly D, you know, wanted to be like, okay, you know, but it's okay, because the thing is, what's most important to me is that all that I've learned and how I've evolved, and I had to like see those dreams through along the way. And so that's what like people know of the most. And of course, like I feel super blessed, because like it don't get no better, you know what I mean? Then
Yeah,
even though it's a short resume, it's mighty, you know.
it is, Mike.
Then being in the presence of, you know, not just George and Dee, but all the Vanguard and P Funk and all of the beautiful women and goddesses and funk, But like, you know, I've also yes, and it does, I think even more so than like the awards, which don't get me wrong. I mean, the Grammys, you know, the Grammys. But like it's getting, yeah, that seal, or not even seal or stamp of approval, for lack of a better word, the the confidence, the votes of confidence from people who I admire so much, that and that are truly great, because they are, you know what I mean, like they're legendary for a reason, you
Yeah.
know. And they really are that, you know, regardless of any whatever that comes with that, you know. And but they also showed me that, you know, I'm a reflection of that, you know, and that, you know, I'm that because, and we all are that, you know, first and foremost, but that, you know, I can certainly stand on my own too. And when honestly, there were times when I wasn't ready, or I was afraid, or I thought it might be lonely to, you know, just step out there by myself. But then I started getting a little bit thirsty for it, and I started waking up, and I started getting liberated. And so now I'm here, which is the
You are
name of the
here.
single.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
and and the title of the album that's coming out.
Okay.
Um, so it's really been beautiful. And even though it's taken a long time as a result of going on these beautiful, wondrous adventures to get to this place where I really can be like, hey, 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 I'm here. I'm Kendra Foster. Here's my music. Because, like, yeah, I'm a writer, but I was an artist first, an artist
Right.
who writes a lot and got, yes, a publishing deal thanks to things like this, and learned like the manufactural writing world, that where people exist that don't want to perform, or that are cool, but they don't have to, you know, they want to hear their music come out through other people, which I love. But honestly, you know, I really have to say here, and any time I get the opportunity, I want people to fall in love with my words and my melodies and my music through me. You
Got it.
know, I
Yes, yes.
perform, you know, I love it. I can't be without it. I can't be without connecting. I can't, you know, so it's like, it's okay that I took all these long, beautiful yellow brick roads and amassed all of this wealth of, you know, magic and knowledge and love and energy and even confidence and tools for navigating and healing, you know, me, and maybe helping other people connect to theirs. And not just like in a goody two shoes way. We have all kinds of fun, you
We
know. But that, because you know we're multidimensional beings, you know.
we are.
But you know, just like, oh gosh, it's been wonderful. I wouldn't have been the same without, and I wouldn't have done it any differently. I knew I had to do it the way I did. And so yeah, what I've collected, you can only imagine, you know, if someone's halfway got a wit, you know, the treasures that they have after traveling, you know, through spaces and times with those wonderful people. God.
That's incredible. That is incredible. So, last but not least, the new album here that's coming up that I'm excited to hear.
Ooh!
What are we going to hear on that album that is different than what we've heard in the past from you?
Oh my. Well, I think where there are similarities, first of all, it'll be like I have multiple producers on this one. Like I had, you know, the majority of my last album was Kelvin Wooten, and I had one song with Jermaine Holmes, and but this one is going to be like cinematic, King Michael Coy, heavy mellow, Cyrus the Great, and DJ Prince, and Theory music. And I think
Nice.
maybe what is different about this is that I think my last album was a lot more what's the word I'm looking for? Cathartic, in the sense of all the ups and the downs, like kind of the extremes, you know, the bliss and the drop and the self-reflection, and I don't know, and maybe and I think this album is a lot more affirming. This album is a lot more like how I felt over the last few years. It's like, if it is a, you know, you got a long way to go type of thing, it's like, yeah, because I'm it and you messing up. You know, it's not because, oh my God, and you wearing on my nerves. And no, 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 no.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
yeah.
these problems with this album. And also there's a lot more where I'm going because I feel like my following album will be the scrolls, you know. But I'm starting to do that thing where I'm talking very directly with like, you know, spiritual stuff and like or making kind of mantras inside of music. And
Mhm.
because from my own joy, power, liberation, healing, like it made me feel so good. It made me realize that the true power is abundance, and abundance is the truth. You know, lack is a lie, and there's more than enough to go around. And everybody is a superhero. Everybody is a god. And a lot of times we throw shade because we haven't connected to our own light. We don't know we got it too. And if we did, we could find refuge there. We could glow from there. And even without worrying about anybody else, your radiation is going to reach someone, though, however, in a good way, you know. And so I think that in this album, there is a lot of love that's about like what I would think is real, healthy, you know, committed love, you know, or the expectation thereof, or the I have a song called You Are the Healing You've Been Looking For, you know.
Sure,
I mean it's called Healing, but that's what I say in it.
sure, sure.
And things about I realized some of the love songs I was writing were actually already love songs dedicated to the love that I have with my friends and my family and my community, and an awareness that my intimate relationship should mirror my most healthy uh, personal, you know, other relationships.
Sure.
And so, like, all of that is in here. And I just think also just a plethora of sound. Um, and so I think there's a lot of the same. And I think also because I'm becoming younger as I'm getting older, because when I was older, I was an old lady. I mean, when I was younger, I was an old lady. So
I
now I
understand what
think
that means. Yeah. Yeah.
there's like all these, like, honestly, I love where young people are now. Like, I love all of the fluidity. I love the busting open the gates. I love, you know, I'm all about that. Honestly, I'm really like really into also musically that we're expanding, you know.
Who are you
Look,
listening to?
well, there's been a plethora of people, but for a hot second, honestly, I still was stuck on maybe not necessarily high branded, but like, you know, like Sango and Xavier Omar. I was like, my
Yes.
boy Mo
Yeah.
had put me on to. I was loving on Gold Link for a hot second.
Hmm.
Like Princess Mononoke, somebody recently, you know, my girl Sugar Lee Bookwild put me on to half these people. So Lorraine Chia. It's another, and of course, though, I also, you know, Leanne LaHava, you know, I feel like whether she realized it or not, adopted her as baby sister. Her new album is lovely.
Incredible. Incredible.
My favorites are Seven Times and what's the oh
Hmm.
God, I can't oh Jesus. Okay, well that's okay. I tweeted about it. So
Okay.
but yeah,
Yes.
like, and
I agree.
I know I'm leaving somebody out because somebody I mean, where honestly during the Grammys I was playing Van Hunt, the fun rises, the fun sets, like
Woo!
all like
Yes. Yes.
during getting prepared for that, and then wishing, oh man, I wish I would have heard this before it was time to vote. I probably would have voted for it instead of myself, you know, like, but like,
Yes.
yeah. So it's a lot of things, but honestly, I'm gonna be like real honest about kind of how selfish I want to, you know what? I really don't want to. If I really thought about what do I listen to on a daily basis, what has been coming up a lot for me that I like want to put on. Oh, that's basically it. But I've been listening to my stuff a lot. I'm not gonna lie, you know,
But that's a good thing,
because
though. You should enjoy your music first. That's great.
I I wasn't always creating music that I wanted to listen to as much as the stuff I enjoyed. So I'm very happy that I create stuff that is like, you know, but I think too, it gets triggery, you know, like listening to all these new wonderful children because it's like you want to, you're like, ugh, you know, but
Yeah.
I'm still
Yeah.
curating something, you know, that I got to get out that I already did. And I got so much more where that came from, Jason. Like, I
Absolutely.
can't get this music out fast enough. So, you know, yeah.
I
That's,
understand. Well, I speak for myself and everybody else here. We're excited to hear what's next. So
Yay!
where can people find you before we leave?
Okay, well, if you're here, I guess you already know that at MZ Kendra Foster is my handle pretty much everywhere. But my music is on all platforms, like anyone you can think of, from Spotify to Apple Music to whoever, them, all the outlets,
All
all
out,
the outlets,
all
YouTube,
of them.
everybody. And then the same will be true for here. And the single also, will be very easily available to stream
Mhm.
or to download, and hopefully by the time here we get wrapped the album, then we'll also have a vinyl. I'm claiming it. We're gonna have a vinyl for that. It deserves a vinyl. So, but
I want one of
September,
those.
yes. Oh yes, you will, because this is a good one, guys. I'm super, super, super proud of it. I feel like it's kind of a portal that I have to offer for anyone who, wants to feel good. And
Yes, yes, yes.
it's a portal for me. And so yeah, so here, the single next month. Pretty excited about the video. It only took me a year to wrap it up, but that's okay.
That's
Shout
okay.
out to Vaughan Honor for the crown. Okay, oops, giveaway.
Shout out.
And so yeah, so here, that's where I am. Here.
Awesome, awesome. So I am excited. I can't wait for the single, for the album, for the video, for that vinyl that I'm going to put right beside the fun rises and the fun sets because it's kismet. It just has to be that way. Kendra, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you tonight. Thank you for
Thank
joining me on Five
you.
Songs.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this. Thank you for bringing some light to the clouds.
Oh man, absolutely. The same to you. You take care, and everybody else that joined us, thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Good night,
You too.
everybody.
See you. Thank you, Jason.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Mwah.